Okay, we'll see if the dogs behave. I have a feeling they may not be. Uh, I live in a very old town. It was established in 1802. And I live in a very old house. Even though the house was built later, it was originally the Four Corners. It was a stagecoach stop. And so whenever people aren't doing much, they come around here and they bring their metal detectors and go crazy. I think most of the stuff has been found already. But anyway, so they're outside and the dogs are like looking them over. What I'm going to talk about today is going to be one of my writing topics, and it's changing your book to a audiobook. I just did that for the first time. I have written many books, I think close to 20 at this point, and I finally decided to take the plunge and make my most recent novel an audible book, an audio book. And I just want to tell you people how I did it, and it's a lot of fun. And I did this after I spoke with someone. There's another writer friend of mine who lives in Sweden. He comes to this area once a year with his family. We always get together and we go out to lunch. And we talk about, what we're doing with our books, and advertising and promotion and all that. He has nonfiction books, and he just went audio with them. And he goes, it makes a huge difference. So you can do them for any kind of book, audio, fiction or nonfiction. And he also, like myself, had a publishing company at one time, and he had made one of his clients an audiobook, but he had to schedule, studio time and get I don't know who did the voiceover, but he said it turned out to be like 3 times more expensive than with when you go make your own audiobook through Audible or ACX. So ACX is the company you want to go to. ACX brings authors with producers. Producers are the voice or artists, and they're the ones that actually produce the book. So it's kind of a clearinghouse. You go into ACX, and there's different ways of paying. You can pay up front and pay the cost. In this way, you maintain all the rights. Well, you always maintain the rights, but you get all the profits. I mean, Audible takes out money naturally when they sell the book, but you get all the 40% of the cover price. You can also work it out where you can work with your producer, the voiceover artist, and sometimes they work for free, but then you have to give them a percentage of the take. So you won't get your 40%, you'd get maybe 20% or something. I didn't do it that way, so I don't know. But there is a way of getting it done for free if a voiceover artist is interested in doing the work, because it is a lot of hours. So you get into the site, and you'll notice, which I was kind of surprised about, when I looked at it, there was like 2,500 people, writers with books, and there were like 12,000 voiceover artists. So there's a lot more voiceover artists than there are books that are being produced. When you go in there, you sign up, very simple, no big deal. There's no money exchanged in the beginning at all. And then you define your voiceover, how you want the book to sound. And there's like 25 filters for that. You can pick old or young. You can pick different accents. I picked a British accent, an old British accent for my book. You can pick a man's voice or a woman's voice. You can pick, throaty, sensual, child. You can pick all kinds of voices. And so you consider that when you put a call out. You're asking for auditions, and then you load up like 3 pages of a mixture of your book. So I would put some narration in there and some dialogue and some interior thought. You kind of mix it up, no more than 3 pages. And then you bid it out. You put the filters in there, what you're looking for, and then it's bid out. And then you start getting auditions from all these people. So it's really, really fun. It's cool. it's interesting to hear your work also, being spoken. But a lot of your artists that are voiceover artists, they do more than speak the words. They put a lot of intonation in there and they pace it, and it can be very. The final product can be really good. So you go in there, and then once you find your artist, then you have a contract with that artist, and you agree on a price. And the prices range. You can look. I think you put the prices in like you're willing to pay. You pay an hourly rate, and a writer would pay a voiceover artist or a producer an hourly rate, and you can put a minimum maximum kind of hourly rate. Like I went in for $50 to $100 an hour. That was the lowest you can go. But then you get like $100 to $200, $200, $300, $300, or $400. It goes all the way up to $600, what you're willing to spend. And I don't think there's any guarantee about the money you spend. There might be. I didn't listen to a lot of people, but just when you hear it, you'll know that it's the right thing, the right the voiceover for your story. They suggest to think of your protagonist and have the voice mirror the protagonist, which of course makes sense. So if it's older man from the South, you could ask for a Southern American older man voice, and a lot of these people are actors. They can do voices. So the actor may be a young person, but if they can throw their voice, you can have that voice even done by a young person. Now, so then you go into production, and you have to submit them the full manuscript. And here's where it gets kind of interesting, because now I had a British accent, but I had American. It's an American. It takes place in America, so there were a lot of references that were American. We cleaned up a few. We didn't change the whole book, but I think most of the books will be listened to in America anyways. But so there are certain things you have to think about when you're writing a book that's going to be distributed worldwide, and it's oral. You listen to it. I've gone online to see what kind of books people like as far as in an audiobook, and I don't think it really matters as long as the voiceover artist is really good and can carry the story. My books tend to be a lot of dialogue, and that works beautifully with an audiobook, I think. So you have your audiobook, and then they go. You tell them how much you want to spend. Let's say you want to spend $200 an hour. Well, then if it goes by the number of words you have. So if you have 50,000 words, they'll multiply that how does that work? 50,000 words. I can't remember what anyways, it would be like, I should have figured this out ahead of time. I think they would figure it out to be 5 hours. And if it was $200, that'd be 1,000. So I think you get an hour's worth. You have to pay for 100 pages. Does that make sense? No, maybe that's not it. It tells you how to do it. Well, they figure it out for you. So my book was 55,000 words, and I paid $100 an hour, and it was supposed to cost me a little under $700, and I ended up paying like another $100 extra because there were some other things we had to do, a few cleanup things. So then you're finished, and then you pay the recording artist, the voiceover artist, and they do all the formatting for you. So you don't do anything. The only thing you have to do is you have to reformat your book cover and make it a square. And they give all the specifications that it's not hard to do. And then the voiceover, the producer sends it to Audible, which is the company. Well, they have a couple of distribution streams, but they do the distribution. And then from there, so my book took me 6 weeks to produce, and then it took another 6 weeks before it went online, where it is now. So it was like a 12-week production. I don't know if that varies. It may change. It certainly would vary if it's a shorter book. If it was a longer book, it would vary as well. So then there's Audible. Audible.com is actually a Amazon company, but if you do self-publish, you don't put a price on it. I mean, they just give things a price. The other nice thing about it is there are built into the system is a way to advertise, and they give you 100 free codes, and they also there's different sites out there where you can there are middleman type sites where they'll take your codes and they'll post them for people that want to read your book and leave a review, and so I did that. That's called Audio Boom. Audio Boom, is that what it is? Let's see. Audiobook Boom. So it's like a clearinghouse. So once it's online, you can go to Audiobook Boom, and you pay a $12 fee, and then it's a place where they put it in their magazine, they put it in their rag or whatever they put online, and then those people are interested in reading your book and leaving a review, they'll contact you and you send them a free code. So that's kind of cool. Now, it's just in the beginning. I don't know what's going to happen with my book. But right after I put it up, right after it was for sale, I got like 14 sales. So that was kind of good. My friend who did this for both his nonfiction books said they made money. They paid for themselves like within 3 months. So that's pretty interesting. It's just another way of advertising your book and getting your book out there. More and more people are listening to audiobooks. So check it out. There's no payment, until you actually, you have a contract with the voiceover artist, but you can go on that site and you can get a sample out there, and then you can define your ideal voiceover artist, like what the voice should sound like, and they can audition for you. And so all that is free. And once you pick a voiceover artist, then you have to then you don't pay for it until they're finished, but once you're committed, then you're working with that voiceover artist. So that's another way to market your stuff, and it's pretty easy. You kind of have to think about when you're doing listening to an audiobook. It's just interesting to see how a book translates to audio, and there's probably some tweaking that you need to do. And now that I'm working on the second book, the follow-up, I'm thinking how I'm going to just tweak the writing a little bit so I don't run into the problems that I had with a book that was already written. I hope you have found this helpful. Have a great day.